Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Cindy Daycheck with Queen Bee Creations, and today's video is inspired by a little mug. Now, the items that I sell in the shop are not brand new. I don't buy them wholesale. I buy vintage, I buy estate sales, downsizings, that kind of thing. Often I buy big boxed lots of things. And so there's usually some things that I just can't use in the store. This is an example. I love these mugs. These are from the old pottery company. I do sell some in the shop, but these actually have a very bright gold handle, and you can kind of see some of the bright gold here. That means this is all worn off. And if it was completely worn off, it would be okay. I couldn't match it to other ones in the shop, but it's still got edgings of it. You can still see it's supposed to be a bright gold, but the rest of it is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I can't sell it like this, but I can use it for other things. So what we're going to do, I'll pull you in overhead. We are going to do a very simple little craft making use of old mugs. This is perfect if you've got maybe a mug or a cup that you really love that's cracked, right? Or that's chipped, because it doesn't need to hold water and we're not going to drink out of it anymore. So nobody's going to cut their lip. We're going to turn it into a decor piece. So let's flip over. We are just going to be using some sticks from the garden. And I had to cut these from outside and then let them dry overnight because it's been very rainy here. And we're going to use some air dry clay. That's our first step. I am just going to take my sticks. I've got some air dried clay. It doesn't take very much. I just want to maybe kind of work it to get rid of any major wrinkles in it. And I'm going to just roll it so it's roughly triangular, right? So we've got a cone more than anything else. And you can kind of stick your finger in there to get those flared edges because we're going to be making mushrooms. And all that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. This is a kind of a small one. So let's get a thinner stick. I'm going to stick it up through there and then put it off to the side to dry. Now what I will do is I will find something to just stand them upright to dry overnight. But I'm just going to do this. I think I have 11 sticks maybe. And I'm just going to do a mess of mushrooms. I'm not worried about the length of my sticks yet because I can cut them off as I go to assemble. Right now, I'm just building them and I want to get, as much as they're a grouping of smaller mushrooms, I do want some caps that are a little bit taller and thinner. And what we're looking at here is we're doing the same kind of mushroom. This is, you know, when you walk through the woods and you come across a whole grouping of them all clustered together, that's what we're doing. So we're going to be forming them to look very similar, and we're ultimately going to paint them to look similar. Now, the thing that I'm doing here is I don't want them all to just be standing exactly the same direction. So this one is kind of tall and straight, although the stick curves a little bit. This one's got a little bit of a curve to it. This one's a little bit shorter and a little bit more rounded. So we're creating them to be the same, but I'm letting them also have a little bit of their own personality here. So what I don't want is any big, huge ones because my cup is not particularly huge. This is looking like it's going to be a little more clay than I need. So I'll just pinch that off at the top. And I'm just going to get these all made and leave them to dry overnight. And then tomorrow, when I come in, we can get them painted up and drying. So very quick, very easy little craft. We just have the dry time in between. All of our little mushrooms have had overnight to dry. And so really at this point, I just need to get them painted and let them dry again. So, you know, it's just a lot of dry time in this craft. And really what I have is I have just put some acrylic paints onto a piece of plastic, and I'm gonna do these red. I'm just thinking the insides, however, are gonna be in a white, if I have enough white. If not, it will be cream, whatever. And I'm just going to get them painted. I'm going to paint them the same. So I want to have like a little grouping of these. I want them to be, you know, they were all the same little mushrooms just growing in a patch. I don't know if mushrooms are a patch of mushrooms. But what I have done is I've taken a couple of reds, and you can make this as easy or as challenging as you want. And again, you're doing this as a little something to maybe fit into your decor. So you could do your mushrooms any color you choose. I'm going to do them white, the undercap kind of a creamy, sorry, I'm doing them red, the undercap kind of a creamy white, and I'm going to do like little white spatters over them. So not big round dots, but just some white contrasting dots. Now I have this deep red color, but I've also got just a little bit of brown that I can add here and there and just kind of blend in as well, just from the idea that, you know, no mushrooms are perfect. But this is where I said you can go as easy on yourself or as challenging as you want. You don't have to blend the colors. So that's with a little bit of the brown in there. I do have like a little bit of a lighter kind of red, so I can add some shading. But you could just paint them one uniform color. I'm doing the red, and then I'll do the underside in white after this is dried. And then I'm just sticking them back up there to be able to dry. So nothing more challenging at this stage than getting a little bit of paint on. And I'm just using acrylic because one, I have it, and two, once it's dry, it's sealed. I could have easily taken maybe some of my Fusion red paint if I wanted, but I kind of want this to be kind of a little bit of shine to it. My Fusion would dry matte, it would dry flat, which again, not an issue, except then I would be having to seal it. This way, I don't have to. It's already got the finish that I want, and it saves me a step. Now that our little mushrooms have dried, and they look cute just even sitting there, what I am doing is I'm taking some floral foam, and I'm just taking old floral foam here. So I've got a bunch of little pieces, and I'm just going to be stuffing them down around to wedge it in nice and tight. So I'm not looking at necessarily gluing it into the cup, although you certainly could. You want to make it permanent, go ahead and do that. I'm just kind of forcing it in nice and tight so it'll kind of stay where I put it. And then we'll be good to go. I am going to glue moss down to the top of this, though. I grabbed this moss because I thought it would look nicer, but it's in little tiny pieces. That's not gonna work for me. So I'm gonna go get a sheet of moss. That'll work better. Okay, so I do have, okay, this is nice and green, so this will work. I do have a sheet of moss here. And why I wanted that versus the pieces is because I don't want to glue it down over everything. If I have tons of that glue there, these aren't going to push down in very well. So what I wanted to do was just more kind of glue it around the edges of my foam so that, again, my cup is still fine, And so that I can now just kind of push the foam down in around the edging. So go down, down in there, give a nice kind of smooth finish. I want something a little wider than you. Just looking to see what I have. You're going to be too wide, I think. Oh, I know. Perfect. One of my IOD transfer tools. That's perfect. And this just serves to even tighten it into the mug a little bit more anyway. And we get just a nice kind of mound and a nice finished looking little lip. And all that's left to do is to take my mushrooms and begin poking them down in. And I just want to have them at varying heights and varying kind of directions. And that becomes our little finished product. Now, if you had little figurines, if you had little mini deer or gnomes or something, you could have them kind of poised in there, look like they're walking amongst little mushroom trees. You could do these with shorter stems if you wanted. You could do more in there if you wanted. But it just becomes this cute little decor piece that took almost no time to make, made use of a mug that would have been tossed otherwise, and it's a great little decor shelf sitter. Let me know what you think of this. You could do them in whatever colors, because mushrooms come in all kinds of colors, that would work in your own decor or that work and match with your little mugs. But it's kind of sweet. Looking forward to your comments and looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.